It's okay. It's okay. She can
Yeah.
play.
She would cut it. She did.
So can Angel
She
Reese.
had 28 tonight. She had 30 what? She had 31 the other night, huh?
31 the other night.
Yeah.
And
Certain professional athletes can attract an audience not just because of their abilities, but also because of the drama that frequently surrounds them. Caitlin Clark is one such player. Clark, a rookie phenom in the WNBA, has broken records and made headlines for her remarkable performances. However, with such achievement comes scrutiny, and in the case of Clark, not only the media has taken notice, fellow athletes have been paying notice, and not everything has been pleasant. Diamond DeShields, a seasoned player, was embroiled in a heated fight with Clark on the floor. The incident created a firestorm of controversy, not only concerning the act itself, but also about the bigger concerns confronting women in sports.
Clark, a little bit of daylight.
Shannon Sharpe, an NFL Hall of Famer turned sports pundit, has been vociferous in his support for Caitlin Clark. Sharpe, known for his uncompromising and candid opinions, did not mince words while describing the DeShields-Clark affair. Sharpe's commentary highlighted the double standards and problems that female athletes face, utilizing this event as a microcosm for bigger concerns in women's sports. But what actually happened with DeShields and Clark? And why has it sparked such strong reactions from both fans and commentators? This essay will go over the specifics of the altercation, Sharpe's analysis, and the broader consequences for women's basketball and sports in general. Before getting into the incident, it's vital to understand why Caitlin Clark has become such a prominent character in the WNBA. Clark was regarded as a once-in-a-generation talent during her time at the University of Iowa. Her ability to score from wherever on the court, paired with her court vision and basketball IQ, set her apart long before she entered the professional league. Clark was already well known among basketball enthusiasts when she signed with the Indiana Fever.
Only 3 points in the second half. She had 13 in the first half, but has picked up a triple-double here today and gets the and one.
Clark stands out not only for her brilliance, but also for her ability to affect the game around her. Clark soon established herself as the main center of the Fever's offense, leading the team in points and assists while also drawing attention from defenses across the league. However, it wasn't only her on-court performance that drew attention. Clark's WNBA debut resulted in a large increase in ticket sales, merchandising purchases, and overall league interest. The Fever, who had struggled in recent years, suddenly found themselves playing in front of sold-out crowds eager to see Clark perform. This kind of influence is remarkable for any player, let alone a rookie, but it demonstrates Clark's star power.
Everything but the bucket that time for Phoenix.
Good job by Cunningham to quickly get on Clark.
Clark sinks this.
Clark's on-court accomplishments are nothing short of impressive. During her debut season, she averaged 24.6 points, 5 rebounds, and 9 assists. These stats not only made her one of the league's best players, but also put her in exclusive company. Clark became the first rookie in WNBA history to record over 600 points and 250 assists in a single season. These statistics are Hall of Fame worthy, but Clark's biography is still being told. Clark's game is remarkable for its consistency. She has a unique ability to take over games by scoring freely and involving her teammates in the offense. Her back-to-back performances, in which she scored more than 25 points, assisted more than 10 times, and made more than 5 three-pointers, were unparalleled. No other rookie in either the WNBA or the NBA had ever achieved such a feat. This level of dominance on the floor has led many to feel Clark is more than simply a Rookie of the Year candidate. He is a future Hall of Famer.
The real deal. Listen, I believed in her from day one. You knew that she would only get better and better. She's averaging 17.8 points this season, 41%.
Caitlin Clark's on-court success has influenced the public view of women's basketball. Women's sports have traditionally gotten less attention, respect, and financial backing than men's sports. However, players like Clark are working to change that. Her effect goes beyond the basketball floor. Clark is challenging outmoded beliefs about women's sports with each game she plays, demonstrating that female players can draw crowds, sell jerseys, and provide performances on par with men's competitors. One of Clark's most major effects has been on ticket sales. The Indiana Fever, a team that had battled to fill seats in previous years, suddenly found themselves playing in front of nearly full houses. By the end of the season, the Fever is expected to draw almost 500,000 fans, which is a franchise record. WNBA attendance grew by 20% across the league, indicating that Clark's effect is felt not only in Indiana, but all over the country.
Point range leading the league in assists her last 5 games, Shannon. 22.5 points per game on 46% shooting, 11 points.
Legendary women's basketball personalities such as Nancy Lieberman have noticed Clark's influence. Lieberman, a Hall of Famer herself, described Clark's contributions to the game as generational, emphasizing that her impact stretches beyond her accomplishments. Clark is paving the way for future generations of female athletes, demonstrating that it is possible to achieve success and influence in the world of professional athletics. Caitlin Clark's inaugural season has been full of praises and admiration. Still, it has not been without controversy, and one of the season's most talked about moments occurred during a game between the Indiana Fever and the Dallas Wings when Diamond DeShields, a veteran Wings player, got into a heated altercation with Clark. The incident occurred late in the game when DeShields committed a hard foul on Clark while she drove to the basket. Clark's teammates and supporters were outraged by the foul, which they saw as too aggressive and potentially hazardous.
Season rookie mark for assists, Stephen A.
She's the real deal. Listen, I believed in her from...
The altercation did not finish with the foul. Clark lay on the floor as DeShields loomed over her, presumably tormenting her. The two exchanged words, and tensions swiftly rose. Both teams' players had to be separated, and the umpires handed technical fouls to DeShields and Clark. However, the harm was already done. The event rapidly became the buzz of the league, with fans and experts arguing whether DeShields' actions were appropriate for the game or went too far.
Don't get mad now. Man, Caitlin let that. Man, Ocho, I was watching it. Man, she was coming up the picks, let the threes go.
Yeah.
Shannon Sharpe, a former NFL player and current sports analyst, was one of the most vociferous commentators on the incident. Sharpe is noted for his outspoken and frequently provocative commentary. Sharpe was candid about the DeShields-Clark affair. He accused the media of minimizing the seriousness of the incident and emphasized the double standards that female athletes endure in comparison to their male counterparts. Sharpe's main criticism was that if the identical situation had occurred in the NBA, it would have been reported as a huge event. He contended that the media tends to downplay violence and confrontation in women's sports, labeling it as unsportsmanlike or unladylike, but identical activities by male players are hailed as indicators of enthusiasm and drive. According to Sharpe, this double standard is part of a bigger issue in how society perceives female athletes.
There's a lot of women that was on ESPN that had a lot to say earlier about this. They gone quiet now.
You say they quiet?
Sharpe's remarks struck a chord with many fans, who had also noted the discrepancy in how the media handled the situation. While some newspapers portrayed DeShields as the attacker and Clark as the victim, others ignored the event entirely, emphasizing Clark's performance in the game. Sharpe's analysis underlined the need for a larger discussion regarding how female athletes are portrayed in the media and society. Despite the backlash from the incident with DeShields, Caitlin Clark has remained focused on her game. Many would say that the altercation has only strengthened her drive to achieve. Clark has continued to produce great numbers, propelling the Indiana Fever to one of their most successful seasons in recent memory. Her tenacity in the face of hardship is one of the qualities that have won her admirers over and propelled her to the league's top ranks.
13 assists for Clark. Boston has 15 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists herself. Clark, a bomb is good!
While unfortunate, the event with DeShields has become a watershed moment in Clark's career. It has forced her to deal with the pressures of celebrity, criticism, and conflict simultaneously. How she responds to these hurdles will most likely determine the direction of her career. Will she rise above the noise and continue to set records, or will the weight of expectations and scrutiny become too much to bear? So far, all evidence is that Clark will emerge from this stronger than ever. Shannon Sharpe's comments on the DeShields-Clark affair went beyond simply criticizing the media. He also issued a call to action to fans, commentators, and athletes. Sharpe stated that it is past time to start treating female athletes with the respect they deserve, not only on the court, but also in how they are covered and discussed in the media. He emphasized that women's sports are frequently overlooked in favor of men's, despite the fact that the level of competition is comparable.
Stephen A. Oh, she don't do this. She not gonna do that. Let her cook.
Let her.
It got so.
Sharpe also emphasized the need for increased financial support for female athletes. While stars like Clark are bringing more attention to women's sports, the economic differences between the WNBA and NBA remain significant. Sharpe feels that if female athletes continue to push the envelope and question the current quo, the future of women's sports will witness a shift in both respect and reward. He envisions a future where female athletes receive the same level of attention and financial reward as their male counterparts.
Tina Charles just had 2 points against Indiana in their last possession, but Caitlin Clark, for a second.
Yeah, take a look here.
The altercation between Diamond DeShields and Caitlin Clark was more than simply a heated competition. It sparked a broader discussion about women's sports. Shannon Sharpe's condemnation of the media's coverage of the incident, as well as his appeal for greater respect and acknowledgement for female athletes, resonated with many fans and analysts.
The WNBA has always been very competitive, with players putting their heart and soul into every game. But lately, the discussion surrounding the MVP award has reached a fever pitch. Aja Wilson, one of the WNBA's brightest talents, went off on what she sees as a tremendous injustice in the MVP race: Caitlin Clark's rejection of the prize title. What followed was nothing short of explosive, as Aja Wilson launched a rage, sending shockwaves across the WNBA and its fandom.
Kelsey Plum playing Caitlin Clark, no catch, meaning she's not trying to let her get it back.
In this video, we'll explore the events that occurred, including why Aja Wilson lost her cool and the drama surrounding Caitlin Clark's rejection. So brace up as we discuss what may be one of the most dramatic moments in WNBA history. To understand why Aja Wilson's response was so strong, we must first accept her role in the WNBA. Since being selected as the first overall choice by the Las Vegas Aces in 2018, Aja has been nothing short of exceptional. Her aggressive playing style, ability to dominate in the paint, and leadership characteristics have earned her a household name. Wilson, a 2-time MVP and Olympic gold medalist, has constantly been in contention for the league's top honors. Wilson's intense competition and constant desire for achievement distinguish her as a great athlete. However, they also led to her angry response to Caitlin Clark's elimination from the MVP contest. Wilson's aggravation spilled out in a spectacular fashion as he understood the pressure and grandeur of winning the MVP award.
Indiana Fever rookie sensation, Caitlin Clark. It's nothing really to say other than that. She's winning Rookie of the Year. She's a top candidate for league MVP honors. She ain't beating Aja Wilson for the MVP.
Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, has been surging to the forefront of the WNBA discourse. Clark was drafted by the Indiana Fever and joined the league with lofty hopes, and she has not disappointed. Caitlin Clark, known for her exceptional shooting range, court awareness, and ability to score from nearly anywhere, has made a significant impact in her first season. Many fans and commentators anticipated her not only to win Rookie of the Year, but also to be a strong contender for MVP.
A little step-up action right here.
Boston gets it back to Clark, sidesteps Howard, she will launch and knock down a three.
Clark's ability to perform well under pressure distinguishes her from other athletes. Whether it's hitting three-pointers from beyond the arc or providing clutch assists, she's constantly shown she can carry her team through the most difficult games. Despite this, Caitlin Clark's outstanding accomplishments did not transfer into MVP accolades this season, which has prompted great criticism, particularly among players such as Aja Wilson.
The WNBA, she's just the 4th player to shoot at least 70% from three-point range on at least 23-point attempts.
The WNBA MVP award is one of the most coveted in the league. The award is given to the player regarded most important to their team's success, which is frequently determined by a mix of individual numbers, team performance, and on-court leadership. This year, however, the battle for MVP got acrimonious, with players, fans, and pundits all disputing who should win the title.
Caitlin Clark. It's nothing really to say other than that. She's winning Rookie of the Year. She's a top candidate for league MVP honors. She ain't beating Aja Wilson for the MVP, but she's beating Angel Reese for the Rookie of the Year. That's a wrap. That's over. And props to Angel Reese, who's had a good year, by the way. Quick hitter number 3 goes to Chicago Sky rookie forward Angel Reese.
Aja Wilson was once again in contention for MVP following another outstanding season. However, many believe that Caitlin Clark, despite being a rookie, had played at an MVP caliber level, making her a viable contender for the title.
And that's what the worst of cynics and critics do. And so you knew they were going to come for you. You had to know that. Now, to the degree that they're doing so, I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from. But keep your spirits up, because you're at a decisive advantage, Angel Reese. You're at a decisive advantage because they made the mistake of letting you know who they are, whoever those people are. And now you have perfect justification for keeping people at bay and not letting people too close where they could potentially hurt you. It's something most people usually learn when they get older. You learned it younger, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Fans and observers cited Clark's domination on the court, ability to lead the Indiana Fever to the playoffs, and record-breaking statistics as reasons why she should be chosen MVP. Many people, including A'ja Wilson, were outraged by Caitlin Clark's exclusion from the MVP competition. But what actually transpired that prompted Wilson's public outburst?
She's pretty incredible. I mean, you watch her and it's unguardable. There's nothing anybody can do to stop it. Like, she's just that dominant, whether it's her mid-range game.
Just 2 minutes earlier, A'ja Wilson resorted to social media to express her displeasure, and it was not nice. In a series of angry tweets, Wilson lashed out at the WNBA, calling Caitlin Clark's MVP rejection absurd and a complete joke. She expressed surprise that someone of Clark's caliber could be left out of the MVP race, particularly given her effect on the league this season.
By any means necessary, KP's going to do it on both sides of the basketball, and she's one of the most hardworking players I've ever seen play the game of basketball. She's always in the gym. Like, when they say first one in.
Wilson did not hold back. In one of her postings, she said, "I can't believe we're out here pretending Caitlin Clark didn't just change the game for the WNBA. How will you ignore that? This league is sleeping on the future, which is disgusting." Her response was quick and strong, sparking a blaze of debate among fans and teammates. The Twitter storm was just the beginning. Wilson's words grabbed the attention of media outlets and sports commentators who jumped right on the topic. Wilson was clearly furious, not just about the rejection, but also about what it meant for the WNBA. To her, the league's inability to recognize Clark's genius seemed like a step backward in terms of advancing the game and promoting fresh talent.
It's time for WNBA today because we have a big game tonight. Two of the most prolific #1 overall picks in WNBA history. They go head to head as Caitlin Clark and the Fever host A'ja Wilson and the defending champion Aces. Now, A'ja has dominated in their matchups, winning both meetings so far, but we know that Caitlin has just been a revelation in her rookie season, and Clark was asked about the challenges that come with facing A'ja Wilson.
As soon as A'ja Wilson's words reached social media, replies poured in from all over the internet. Fans of both Wilson and Clark were quick to respond, with many repeating Wilson's comments. The hashtag Caitlin Clark for MVP started trending on Twitter, with supporters urging the WNBA to rethink its MVP selection. Even players from around the league joined in. Several renowned WNBA players tweeted in favor of A'ja Wilson's outburst, stating that Caitlin Clark's absence from the MVP contest was unjust. Kelsey Mitchell, Clark's Indiana Fever teammate, tweeted, "I've been saying this. Caitlin has been on fire all season. How is she not in the MVP conversation?"
Two-time WNBA MVP A'ja Wilson joined us here on SportsCenter. A'ja, I hope you could hear some of the stats we were just throwing at the audience coming off that game. You guys started 5-5 in the season, but you've won 5 straight now. What do you attribute to this recent run of success?
I mean, just trusting the process, but also our defensive end. I think we really settled down on the defensive end, and that's where we can really play our basketball. But sometimes you got to trust the process. Adversity hit us a little early, but I'm glad it did, so we can learn how to grind out wins, because this league is way too good. So we're slowly getting back to Aces basketball in our system, and I'm feeling like we're at the right time of our season right now.
28 points, 9 rebounds for you, season high 34 for Kelsey Plum. She was reluctant to talk too much about herself a few moments ago with Angel Gray. What do you say about Kelsey Plum as it relates to doing what is necessary to win a game?
By any means necessary, KP's going to do it on both sides of the basketball, and she's one of the most hardworking players I've ever seen play the game of basketball. She's always in the gym. Like, when they say first one in, last one to leave, that is...
On the other side, other fans believe Wilson's reaction was disrespectful and unwarranted. Critics claim that Wilson should concentrate on her performance and let the MVP process unfold. Nonetheless, the vast majority of fans seem to agree with Wilson, claiming that Clark's rejection was one of the most contentious in recent WNBA history.
So here is the scouting report from Caitlin Clark. I mean, look at those words. Mid-range game. She can put it on the floor. Defensive player, unguardable. We are witnessing the greatest scoring.
As the uproar over her MVP snub heated up, all eyes shifted to Caitlin Clark herself. Fans and media outlets were curious how the emerging celebrity would react to the outpouring of support from A'ja Wilson and others. However, Caitlin Clark has yet to comment on the topic. Clark's choice to remain silent might be strategic. Clark, known for her professionalism and maturity both on and off the court, may choose to let her game speak for itself rather than become involved in the continuing turmoil. Nonetheless, her silence has not prevented admirers from guessing her true feelings about the MVP snub.
The only reason that I brought up the first part about Angel Reese is this. Caitlin Clark is box office. She is a star. And Angel Reese is to be completely believed that there's no hate. They both get along. They're cool with each other. They're high-end competitors, etc., etc. But you've known they were coming for you when you were waving your hands in your face to mock Caitlin Clark when you were beating her for the national championship. And you also are old enough to know that in this society, whether they want to admit it or not,
some anticipate Clark will ultimately issue a statement or discuss the subject in a post-game interview. Others believe she prefers to concentrate on her next game and is keen to prove the critics wrong with her performance on the court. Whatever her answer, one thing is certain. Caitlin Clark's MVP rejection has become the talk of the league.
With A'ja Wilson, who is having career highs across the board. And there are 3 ways that make A'ja Wilson great, and I'll show you exactly as we take it to the court, starting with her.
To properly comprehend the intensity of A'ja Wilson's response, you must first understand the importance of the MVP award in the WNBA. The MVP award is more than simply individual honors. It reflects a player's effect on their club and the league as a whole. For many players, receiving the MVP award represents the pinnacle of their hard work, devotion, and contributions to the game.
A'ja Wilson with Wilson mid-range where she's 2 for 2.
For A'ja Wilson, who has won the honor twice, the MVP title means much more. Wilson understands what it takes to be an MVP and is grateful for the honor. This is likely contributing to her displeasure at Caitlin Clark's omission from the MVP contest, as she believes Clark deserves equal praise for her game-changing performance. Furthermore, the MVP award has the potential to shape a player's legacy. Winning the MVP not only secures a player's place in history, but also opens the door to sponsorships, media, opportunities, and future success in their career. For a rookie like Caitlin Clark, earning MVP in her first season would have been a huge accomplishment, perhaps propelling her career to even higher heights.
3 closeouts each possession, and if you do that, you're probably going to have a team in rotation, and you're probably going to have some mismatches.
Clark step back 3.
Another issue contributing to the MVP dispute is the media's involvement in framing the narrative. Sports media has an important role in promoting player achievements, changing public opinion, and eventually influencing awards such as MVP. Throughout the season, the media concentrated on established players like A'ja Wilson and Breanna Stewart, while Caitlin Clark, despite her amazing season, received less national recognition. This media prejudice may have contributed to Clark's MVP snub. As Wilson pointed out in her outburst, the league and its media partners may be sleeping on the future, failing to identify the next generation of potential. The WNBA is at a crucial point, and Caitlin Clark represents the league's future. Ignoring her in the MVP debate sends the wrong message to fans and aspiring athletes who look up to Clark as a role model.
When you're talking about Caitlin, I think there's no denying her ability to influence your offense, right? When you think about different players, you think about, oh, they can really score the ball. They can really push the ball in transition.
A'ja Wilson's response to Caitlin Clark's MVP rejection underlines her status as a WNBA leader. During her career, Wilson has utilized her position to advocate for topics that are important to her, like social, justice, and improved compensation and recognition for WNBA players. Wilson's current outburst is just another example of her sticking up for what she feels to be right. Wilson's leadership goes beyond her team and performance. By openly criticizing the WNBA's MVP selection, she advocates for justice and pushes the league to develop. Her willingness to speak up, even at the risk of causing controversy, demonstrates her commitment to the future of the WNBA and her desire to see players like Caitlin Clark get the credit they deserve.
She's been hot, shooting 43% during that time from the three-point line.
Wilson all mid-range and all day.
With the debate in full swing, the major question is, how will the WNBA react? The league has yet to release a formal comment on Caitlin Clark's MVP snub or Aja Wilson's angry response. However, considering the severity of the debate and the broad attention it has received, the WNBA may feel pressured to address the issue. The league might react in many ways. It may address the criticism and explain the MVP selection process, or it could sit mute and let the topic flow naturally. In any case, the league must tread cautiously since this issue has the potential to influence public opinion of the MVP award and the WNBA's dedication to developing new talent.
We do that in the WNBA.
As the MVP debate continues, both Caitlin Clark and Aja Wilson will surely be in the limelight. Clark's MVP disappointment might inspire her future performances. She's already established herself to be a powerhouse on the court, and this recent development may encourage her to climb even higher in her career. This event demonstrates Aja Wilson's leadership and enthusiasm for the game. While her reaction was dramatic, it also demonstrates how much she cares about the league's future and the recognition of good players. Wilson's willingness to stand up for Caitlin Clark might cement her place as one of the WNBA's most important leaders, both on and off the field.
Some people didn't expect her to be as good as she was early. I did. I thought she would be.
To summarize, Aja Wilson's emotional response to Caitlin Clark's MVP rejection has sparked a discourse about more than just one prize. It's a conversation about the WNBA's future, how to recognize emerging talent, and how leadership shapes the league. As we wait to see how the WNBA reacts, one thing is certain, this will be recognized as a watershed event in the league's history. Caitlin Clark's influence on the WNBA is evident, and although she may have been overlooked this season, her future is very promising. Aja Wilson's strong enthusiasm continues to drive the discourse, and her leadership on and off the court establishes her as a real legend in the sport.
McVinlay, handoff Clark, launches, and hits him.
Stay tuned for further updates on this developing topic, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe for the most up-to-date sports news.
You know, this is a dream. This is something I wrote down on a piece of paper when I was in like second grade. Like, get a basketball scholarship, play in the WNBA. Like, this is always something I wanted to do.
The WNBA has long been a hotbed of competitive energy, including some of the world's most gifted athletes, some like Caitlin Clark, whose rapid ascent has created an undertone of dissatisfaction. Also, Teresa Weatherspoon, the Chicago Sky's head coach.
You have to ask yourself that every single day that you live this life. Are you impacting the lives of other people? So I'm praying that the position that I hold tells people.
Recently made headlines at a news conference for what many are calling an unusual outburst, as well as her team's performance. The seasoned coach, renowned for her calm demeanor and great knowledge, surprised everyone when she refused to address questions regarding Clark and the Indiana Fever.
Keep moving! Keep moving! There we go!
How have you liked your attack on the offensive end, Spoon?
This event has caused significant conjecture and debate in the basketball world, prompting many to wonder, what is it about Caitlin Clark that is shaking up the WNBA so dramatically? In this video, we'll examine the controversy surrounding Teresa Weatherspoon's response and how Clark's presence in the league has changed the dynamics on the court, while also ruffling the feathers of established players and coaches.
Honestly, I think setting my teammates up, I think that just like provides so much more energy to the team. It gets everybody going, and when everybody can like touch the ball and, you know, get going in that way, I think it just, you know, everybody just flows a little bit better. The offense flows a little bit better. But that's something I take a lot of pride in. At times I think I can try to like overpass and probably could be a little more aggressive to the basket. But yeah, I think with the weapons that we have on our team.
We'll also investigate why Clark's influence on the WNBA is becoming a double-edged sword, bringing both unprecedented attention and great pressure on the league.
Yeah, I think we responded well after we had to use that timeout early in the third.
To comprehend the full scope of the present conflict, you must first understand why Caitlin Clark is generating such a stir in the WNBA.
I think turnovers are costing us a little bit. If we can take care of the ball a little bit better, we'll be in a better position, but I thought we did better on the O boards.
Clark's performance on the professional stage has been nothing short of remarkable. She is not just playing the game, she is rewriting the rules and establishing new standards.
But they go in. Not only do they go in consistently And the way she plays the game, she's the true definition of a great player.
Clark made it evident right away that she wasn't your typical rookie. Her performances have repeatedly been jaw-dropping, and her statistics prove it. Clark, who averages 22.6 points.
I'm very grateful starting and playing in front of absolutely no one during COVID, and then obviously my sophomore year we had good crowds, the curtains were down a lot of the games, and now
7.8 assists and 5.4 rebounds per game, and has a 34.6% three-point shooting percentage, is not only making an impact,
slowly developing and getting better and better. And yeah, I think we're just, learning as time goes and each game goes, like we're just getting better and better.
You've had an absolutely whirlwind first half of your rookie campaign. I want to ask you how much you're looking forward to this break, right, coming up.
But also creating history. These statistics are astonishing for any athlete, much alone a rookie. It's a little surprising that she's immediately been the focus of talks about the WNBA's future.
Well, she's definitely taken that golden advice, recently being the first WNBA player that has recorded consecutive 20-plus point rebound games.
However, Clark's effect extends beyond her statistics. Her impact on the Indiana Fever has been nothing short of transformational. Last season, the Fever finished with a 13-27 record, making them one of the league's worst teams.
This is special. I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports in general, but you're changing it. You're helping us change it. So seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from all of us, we thank you so much.
However, with Clark at the helm, the Fever have made a stunning turnaround. They're no longer the league's punching bag.
I think it's easy. Like, these people are my best friends, and like, that's not for show. Like, I seriously know, like, I'm not me without all of them, and they've had my back. And
instead, they're vying for a postseason place after already exceeding last year's victory total. Clark seemed to have revitalized the whole squad, transforming them into a formidable force.
Yeah, they've both been tremendous. I thought they played great defense. They've made great decisions out of the pick and roll or pick and pop. We got to keep going to them. All right, thanks. Thank you.
The Fever's comeback hasn't gone unnoticed. They're playing entertaining, competitive basketball, and fans are paying attention. Clark's arrival has revitalized the squad.
More than anything, I know these girls are going to be my best friends for the rest of my life, and really that's all that matters to me. I don't really care if we win another game. It's just having these people in my life for forever.
Resulting in an inevitable increase in expectations. However, although the Fever's success story is one of the most thrilling events in recent WNBA history.
Yeah, that's just not a basketball play, but got to play through it. That's what basketball's about at this level. So I thought we've been really physical. We've missed some bunnies around the rim, and so hopefully those fall in the fourth, but really proud of our team.
It has also resulted in a slew of unexpected repercussions. With tremendous success comes considerable attention, not all of which is beneficial.
Caitlin Clark's name out of that soliloquy that you dropped about the Indiana Fever. Stop it. You know that. Stop it.
As Clark's fame continues to grow, so does the hostility she seems to be instilling in her opponents.
Stephen A., I'm talking to you, Stephen A., if you had promoted the WNBA more, if you had talked about it more, they would have played more games. Like I had the power to go up to ESPN and say, directors and producers and cameramen and everybody else flock to the WNBA at the time.
The WNBA has always had its fair share of rivalries and competitive edge, but what we're seeing now with Clark and the Indiana Fever is something new, more fierce.
People are pulling up to games, we got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, just because of one single game. And just looking at that,
one of the most striking evidence of this growing hatred came in a recent game versus the Connecticut Sun. During the match, Alyssa Thomas committed a hard foul on Clark, which many fans and experts deemed unwarranted and unnecessarily violent. The foul was largely viewed as a direct message. Welcome to the WNBA, rookie. It was a sharp reminder that despite her outstanding accomplishments, Clark is still seen as an outsider by some of the league's veterans. However, the situation with Thomas is not uncommon. In many games, Clark has faced more physical and aggressive defense.
give it up for these women, these incredible seniors, and thank you for all that
you've done. Opposing teams seem eager to go to any length to control her, even crossing the line into unsportsmanlike behavior. This kind of approach demonstrates Clark's impact. Teams are starting to regard her as more than simply a brilliant player, but also a real danger to their success.
Honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball.
Clark's resilience, however, is her most outstanding quality. Despite the increasing aggressiveness and efforts to knock her off her game, she stays undeterred. She continues to play her signature style of basketball, making impossible passes, scoring long-range shots, and leading her team with grace and confidence. Clark isn't simply surviving the hardships she faces, she's flourishing in them. Given the background of escalating tensions, it's no wonder that emotions are high around the league. However, Teresa Weatherspoon's reply at a recent news appearance surprised many. Weatherspoon, a renowned figure in women's basketball, is noted for her wide knowledge and level-headed approach to the game.
I'm pretty sure I'll be in a three-point competition for everybody to watch at some point. Not everybody needs to freak out. So, but also like, the roster that we have in the three-point competition is incredible. You look at their percentages, they're all 40% three-point shooters. Like, they're shooting better percentage-wise than I am, so they all deserve it. I'll be there supporting, watching them. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. But yeah, I mean, the biggest thing was just like take some rest and make a decision for myself, which is at times can be hard to do. And
that's why her hasty exit from a news appearance, refusing to answer questions regarding Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, has perplexed many. In all of my years covering basketball, I've never seen anything like that. Coaches are often required to exhibit a sense of calm and professionalism, particularly in front of the media. However, Weatherspoon's reply was anything but calm.
I'm honestly proud of myself for doing that.
I so appreciate your honesty there. And I was talking to Diana Taurasi earlier today.
Her abrupt departure generated more questions than it answered, leading everyone to speculate on what might have provoked such a strong reaction. To comprehend the importance of this occasion, we must first analyze Teresa Weatherspoon.
Yeah, obviously nothing's official, and for this league, like to me, it's like sky's the limit. You're seeing how incredible it can be. You can see how hard it is to get a ticket to get into the doors, how many people want to turn it on their television, how people are traveling miles and miles to come and watch and have an opportunity to interact with the players or just watch the players play basketball live in person. So, you know, obviously expansion is going to really help. The new media deal is going to help.
She is not just any coach, she is a Hall of Famer, a two-time WNBA champion, and a veteran of the women's basketball world. For someone of her standing to respond in this manner implies that something else is going on. One idea suggests that Weatherspoon's behavior stems from dissatisfaction. The Chicago Sky, on which she has poured her heart and her, is faltering this season, but Clark's Indiana Fever is on the rise.
And I think you're just going to continue to see it grow. This is really only the beginning in my eyes. It's the hardest league in all of sports with only, you know, less than 144 spots. Obviously that's expanding, but you know, I'm excited. The people that have been in this league deserve it, and then obviously the people that are going to continue to come into this league are.
It's conceivable that witnessing her team struggle while a rookie like Clark dominates the league is hard for her to accept. After all, Weatherspoon has spent years establishing her image and team, and suddenly a 22-year-old is stealing the show. This might be a difficult pill to take for someone who has devoted their life to the sport.
90 seconds left to play here in the first quarter. Looking for Reese. In fact, Bentley tips it away and off and running. Caitlin Clark.
The Caitlin Clark effect refers not just to her on-court performance, but also to how she is transforming the whole WNBA. Her success has brought the league unparalleled exposure, recruiting new fans, and creating media coverage that women's basketball has seldom experienced before. This increased prominence is definitely beneficial to the sport as a whole, but it is also causing a ripple effect that puts pressure on everyone involved.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch them.
What was your level of disappointment not hearing your name on the roster?
Honestly, no disappointment. Like, I think it just gives you something to work for. You know, it's a dream. You know, hopefully one day I can be there, and I think it's just a little more motivation. You remember that, and you know, hopefully in 4 years, when 4 years comes back around, you know, I can be there.
Did you have a direct conversation with managing director or whomever's over there at USAB recently?
Yeah, they called me and let me know, and before everything came out, which was, you know, really respectful of them, and I appreciated that. And they did the same for every girl that made the team or every girl that didn't make the team. You know, there's a lot of players in the Olympic pool, so it wasn't like I was the only one they had to call. They had to make quite a few calls.
Are you looking forward to a break, you know, from Olympic action, basketball in general, I guess?
For years, the WNBA has struggled to establish its position in the cluttered sports scene, sometimes failing to attract the same degree of attention as men's leagues.
The craziness of everything that's been going on, and you know, just find some peace and quiet for myself. But then additionally, like, a great opportunity for us to work and get better, a great opportunity for myself to get in the weight room, to work on the court and work at things that I want to get better at that I maybe didn't have time going from college to the pro season. So I'm looking forward to it. But at the same time, like, we still have a month of games where we have a lot of opportunities to win a lot of games. So that's where my main focus is.
What was it like to try to prepare for Team USA? Like, you were in Cleveland when they were hosting camp, but like, obviously you had other things in your mind, I think.
However, with Clark's arrival, the narrative is starting to alter. Fever games are attracting record crowds, social media is humming with her highlights, and everyone wants to speak about the WNBA. Clark is more than simply a player. She is a phenomenon who is transforming the league in ways few could have predicted.
Competitors. They're out there to compete to go win. And when you're in a different uniform, you're just competing to go win. And then a lot of times it's at all costs.
However, this sudden exposure brings a lot of strain. Coaches who previously worked in relative obscurity are now under scrutiny. Every tactical choice, replacement, and post-game statement is scrutinized more than ever before. Some may embrace this transition as an opportunity to get the recognition they deserve finally. Others, however, find it very stressful. Teresa Weatherspoon's response may be seen as a microcosm of the larger problem. As a seasoned coach, she's used to working inside a certain framework, which Clark's presence has upended. The increased media attention, the pressure to perform, and the necessity to adjust to a new style of play are all contributing to a more difficult situation for established league figures.
We did as a team, we spoke about it, we did what we had to do as a team to speak about how we conduct ourselves, and we moved on from there. The world kept speaking, you let the world keep speaking, but
there's also the issue of playing style. Caitlin Clark plays a daring style of basketball with dangerous passes and long-range shots. This style contradicts professional football's old norms, and for more conservative coaches, it may seem to be an affront to the right way to play. Clark's performance demonstrates that there are other ways to win in the WNBA, but it also forces coaches and players to reevaluate their approaches to the game. Then there's the money side. Clark's success brings more money and attention to the league, increasing the pressure on everyone to excel. Coaches who are unable to adjust to this new age may find themselves swiftly out of job, while slow-moving players risk falling behind. The stakes have never been greater, and for some, this is a tough fact to accept.
The Sky shooting 38%. Caitlin Clark, another three-pointer.
As we look forward to the WNBA playoffs, it's evident that Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever will play key roles in the drama that awaits. The league's fans are ecstatic right now. The Fever's turnaround, paired with Clark's brilliance, has created the potential for one of the most exciting playoff runs in recent memory. Clark's presence, however, presents a big challenge to the league's other clubs. How do you prepare to play against a player who seems to have a response for everything? How can you stop a club that has been building momentum all season? These are the questions that coaches and players are considering as they prepare for the playoffs. Teresa Weatherspoon and the Chicago Sky face an especially hard path ahead. The Sky have yet to find consistency this season, and if they want to make a long postseason run, they must find a way to stop Clark. Weatherspoon's outburst at the press conference may be seen as evidence that she is feeling the strain more intensely than ever before. But if we've learned anything about Weatherspoon, it's that she's a fierce competitor. She may have been frustrated, but you can guarantee she'll be doing all she can to prepare her squad for the next task.
Her style
Being here is really hurting Chicago tonight.
Kennedy a guard, but so effective in the paint. And Boston now has gone back to...
Meanwhile, the Indiana Fever are entering the playoffs with confidence they haven't felt in years. Clark has given them the conviction that they can defeat anybody, which is a dangerous mindset for their opponents. The Fever's success is due to more than just one player, but there is little doubt that Clark is the driving force behind their extraordinary turnaround. As the playoffs come, all eyes will be on Caitlin Clark. Can she keep performing at this great level when the stakes are highest? Can she guide the Fever to a long playoff run and possibly a championship? These are the issues that will define the playoffs, and the answers will most likely have long-term implications for the WNBA. But regardless of what happens, one thing is certain: Caitlin Clark has already altered the league in ways that will be felt for years. She's more than simply a newcomer. She's a game changer, a pioneer, and a force of nature. As the WNBA evolves, athletes like Clark will help mold its future.
But Caitlin Clark is a special player. She reminds me of a Steph Curry. You know, a lot of times she takes those ill-advised shots that me and Chuck don't like.
The WNBA is undergoing a seismic transformation, with Caitlin Clark at the center. Her entrance not only raised the standard of play, but also drew increased attention and scrutiny to the league. Some people, such as Teresa Weatherspoon, are having difficulty adjusting to their new world. Clark's effect, on the other hand, is a step forward for the WNBA as a whole, a look into a future in which women's basketball is given the credit it deserves. As supporters, we are fortunate to be here at this historic time. The 2024 WNBA season is shaping up to be one for the ages, with the playoffs promising even more drama, excitement, and memorable moments. Whether you're a die-hard fan or a casual spectator, now is the moment to tune in, because Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are doing something unique.
Final few seconds. Caitlin Clark, a career-high night. The Fever put up 100 and take the series.
So as we prepare for the playoffs, let's continue the discourse. What do you think of Teresa Weatherspoon's reaction? How do you see the Caitlin Clark effect playing out in the postseason? Most importantly, who do you believe will come out on top? Please leave your opinions in the comments section below, and remember to subscribe to our channel for more WNBA news, analysis, and updates. The future of women's basketball looks brighter than ever, and Caitlin Clark is leading the way. The only issue is, who is ready to take on the challenge? Did you know that Caitlin Clark has seized the limelight in women's basketball, putting luminaries like Cheryl Swoops in the background? Yes, you heard it correctly. Caitlin Clark has become the buzz of the town, a household name, and the WNBA's brightest light. However, with that focus comes a barrage of criticism, and shockingly, some of the sharpest criticism has come from inside the same league she is revitalizing.
Here's Clark. Clark looking to take it around Lloyd. Clark bodies in and finishes.
Clark's contribution to the game is unquestionable. She's more than simply an excellent player. She's a game changer. She has been rewriting the record book since she first walked onto the court.
I think it's easy. Like, these people are my best friends, and like, that's not for show. Like, I seriously know, like, I'm not me without all of them, and they've had my back, and they do a lot of dirty work for me to be able to have the fun and take crazy shots.
And this is not an exaggeration. Every time she plays, she has a high possibility of setting a new standard, breaking a record, and taking the game to new heights.
Thank you everyone for being here. Like I said, I expect these crowds forevermore, because this is just the beginning for women's basketball here in the state of Iowa. Give it up for these women, these incredible seniors, and thank you for all that you've done.
However, her spectacular ascent has resulted in an equally intense surge of jealousy, and not only from her opponents. Surprisingly, some of this criticism has come from WNBA luminaries who, rather than recognizing Clark's accomplishments, seem to belittle them.
The people that have made it the most special, obviously my teammates, my coaches, but it isn't what it is without all of you. So seriously, I mean that, and I thank you.
One of the most outspoken detractors has been Cheryl Swoops, a name associated with brilliance in women's basketball.
Yeah, that'll go in the record books as Caitlin Clark is the all-time, whatever it is. I don't even know what the number is, but that's the way it'll be. And I don't think it should be.
Swoops is a legend in her own right, winning collegiate championships, Olympic gold medals, and WNBA crowns. Her legacy in the sport is safe, but her recent statements regarding Clark have generated more than a few questions.
So I waited until halftime of the All-Star game, and so I went over and, talked to him for a minute and introduced.
Swoops seems to have taken issue with Clark's attention and praises, and she hasn't been hesitant in expressing her opinions.
This isn't just for Caitlin, but you asked me about Caitlin. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time.
Swoops made a bold comment, claiming that Angel Reese's game would be more suited to the WNBA than Clark.
And Angel Reese knows a ring.
Lynn Dunn, the famous general manager of the Indiana Fever, has had enough. She is a seasoned veteran of the game who has seen both the highs and lows of professional basketball. But what she's seeing today has pushed her to the edge, leading her to speak out with genuine conviction. What triggered the event? None other than the unrelenting and some say deadly roughness that Caitlin Clark has faced on the court. This isn't just another day in the WNBA. It's a crisis in the making, and Dunn is prepared to act.
Amazing. It's amazing. I cannot believe that many people are here for the draft party. It's such an exciting moment. We're thrilled to select with the first pick Caitlin Clark.
But what's really going on here? Is this simply another chapter in the WNBA's illustrious history? Or is something more important emerging before our eyes? Let's go into the facts, unpack the difficulties, and find out why Lynn Dunn, one of the most respected personalities in women's basketball, is suddenly demanding quick action. Lynn Dunn's interest extends beyond basketball to the fundamental fabric of the game. Dunn's perspective is unique as the Indiana Fever's general manager. She's seen the league's evolution throughout the years, including the growth of players, the intensity of rivalries, and the rising fan base. But what she sees today is different, and it troubles her terribly.
You're changing it, you're helping us change it, so seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from all of us, we thank you so much, and I just feel really grateful to be here.
Dunn is especially concerned with Caitlin Clark's supporters' conduct and the more violent techniques employed against her on the court. It's one thing to play rough. Basketball, after all, is a contact sport. But when does toughness become dangerous? That is the question Dunn is asking, and it has sparked a passionate discussion within the WNBA community. Caitlin Clark, with her evident skill and compelling charisma, has emerged as the league's lightning rod. Her supporters are fervent, her opponents are tenacious, and the result is a level of ferocity that is making headlines throughout the sport. Dunn is frustrated not just with the physical play, but also with how the game is developing, or maybe devolving, in reaction to the demands that come with Clark's ascension. Caitlin Clark's influence in the WNBA cannot be emphasized enough. She's more than simply another player, she's a sensation. Clark is creating waves on the floor, turning heads, and pushing opponents to reconsider their strategy. He averages 16.3 points, 6 assists, and 4.9 rebounds per game. But what's occurring off the field is absolutely astounding. Clark's presence has directly contributed to an increase in WNBA attendance and fan engagement. In Los Angeles, 19,033 people have come to witness her performance. In Washington, the attendance was even higher. 20,333 people packed the arena to see Caitlin Clark perform. These metrics are more than just numbers. They reflect the WNBA's burgeoning popularity, which is propelled in large part by Clark's spectacular performances.
I'm very grateful starting and playing in front of absolutely no one during COVID, and then obviously my sophomore year we had good crowds, the curtains were down a lot of the games, and now...
However, all of this prosperity has brought along a new set of obstacles. As Clark continues to dominate, she becomes a target. The brutality aimed against her is rising, and it's more than simply difficult defense. It's about survival. Opponents are pushing the envelope, testing the limits, and in some instances, crossing the line. That's where the real issue is. The WNBA has always distinguished itself by its physicality. However, there is a distinction between playing hard and dirty, and that line is getting more blurred. Caitlin Clark is at the heart of this argument, since she encounters physical obstacles on the court that some feel exceed what is appropriate in competitive play.
Seattle, and all of a sudden, we're pretty close. This has been as close as it's been all second quarter long, 44.
Remember when Clark was hip-checked by Kennedy Carter, or when she clashed with Angel Reese? These aren't isolated events. They're part of a wider trend that's forming throughout the league. Clark has spoken out about the treatment she is undergoing, stating, "I feel like I'm getting hammered." For a player of her level to raise such worries is significant. It indicates that something has to change. The roughness thrown toward Clark is more than simply strong defense. It's about delivering a message. But what's the message? Is Clark too good, oppressive, or threatening? Or is it something more sinister, referring to larger flaws inside the league? These are the questions posed by fans, players, coaches, and experts alike.
Caitlin Clark.
As the physicality goes up, so too does the discussion. Where do we distinguish between competitive play and harmful behavior? What constitutes appropriate on-court behavior, and when does it become excessive? These are the problems that are now front of mind in the WNBA, and Lynn Dunn is determined to solve them. Caitlin Clark's handling of the court has elicited different reactions. On one side, some supporters are upset, believing that Clark is being unjustly targeted and that the brutality she is experiencing is not simply part of the game, but a purposeful effort to bring her down. These supporters are loud, passionate, and demanding change.
An accidental collision with Caitlin Clark. You see it right there. personnel crowds around her. She ended up being okay. She said she was fine. She just got the wind knocked out of her a little bit.
On the other hand, others contend that this is just basketball. It's a rigorous sport, and if you want to be the greatest, you must be able to manage the physical demands. For some followers, Clark's situation is merely part of the game, a necessary hurdle that she must face if she wants to compete at the greatest level. But it's not only the fans who are split, the league itself is debating how to react. WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert recognized the problem, saying, "I believe everyone is watching Caitlin, so their emphasis is solely on Caitlin. But when compared to other games with additional players, it is a physical game." Engelbert's remarks underline the bigger context. The WNBA is a rough league, and Caitlin Clark isn't the only one dealing with these issues.
Yeah, I mean, her first month in W, obviously, aside from the numbers, the viewership, the attendance, the way that she plays the game, you know, she's ultra competitive. Her ability to really stretch the floor and find her teammates. Obviously, there is a learning curve. And
however, Engelbert's words pose serious considerations. Is Clark's physicality merely a facet of the game, or is there more to it? Is the league doing enough to safeguard its players, particularly its superstars? What message is being sent to the next generation of players and fans? These are the concerns that are rising to the forefront as the discussion around Caitlin Clark and the physicality of the WNBA heats up. So what precisely does Lynn Dunn propose? Dunn's strong words make it plain that she is unwilling to sit back and watch while the game she loves is imperiled. She is asking for quick action, urging the league to intervene and address the problem of physicality before it is too late.
About 20 seconds, maybe 15.
Why that long?
I don't know. They made me pause. You know, the league. You gotta follow the directions.
Dunn isn't just speaking out, she's taking action. She allegedly submitted game videos to the league headquarters, underlining the risky play that she feels is endangering players like Caitlin Clark. Dunn's commitment is palpable. She's not just talking the talk, she's living the walk, leading by example for everyone participating in the game. But what fueled Lynn Dunn's ardent determination? Why is she so adamant about cleaning up the game, safeguarding the athletes, and maintaining the WNBA's integrity? The answer is rooted in her profound passion for the game, dedication to the league, and conviction that basketball can and should be better. Dunn's call to action applies to the whole league, not just one player or club. She's making a strong message about the significance of safeguarding star players, establishing a high standard for the whole WNBA, and keeping the game fair and safe for everyone on the field.
One of our biggest wins of the season so far was our first win at Phoenix. I think that really kind of boosted us into how we're playing basketball right now.
As the WNBA expands and evolves, physicality will remain a major concern. The league is at a crossroads, and the choices made over the next several months and years will significantly influence its future. If the league can find a way to combine toughness and safety, protecting its players while maintaining the game's purity, it has the potential to reach new heights. The WNBA has the potential to serve as a model for other sports leagues, demonstrating that it is feasible to play intense competitive basketball without jeopardizing player safety.
Left to go. How important was it for this group to come out after the break and get the win?
Yeah, it's huge. I think it sets the tone of where we want to be the rest of the season. So to grind this one out and get it done, I think is just a step in the right direction. But it's one at a time, and we have another big one Sunday.
However, if the league fails to handle the problem, the ramifications might be severe. Players might continue to get injured, the game's quality could deteriorate, and spectators could lose faith. The WNBA risks losing its momentum and its status as one of the most entertaining and dynamic sports leagues in the world. The WNBA's future is in the balance, and choices taken now will define the league for years to come. It is a watershed moment in the league's history, and players, fans, and the media will all be paying careful attention. To summarize, Lynn Dunn's call to action is about more than simply Caitlin Clark. It is about the future of the WNBA. The league is at a watershed moment as it deals with the problem of physicality and its influence on the game.
Yeah, I think just when I can get going early, that's when I really settle into the game and feel comfortable. And I think my third quarter wasn't great, but yeah, I think there's times where we would have crumbled, but we just kept battling and fighting, and I thought it was a really good win for us.
Dunn's drive to safeguard the players, maintain the league's integrity, and guarantee that the WNBA stays fair and safe reflects her passion for the sport. She is not just speaking out, she is also acting, setting an example for everyone participating in the game. The fight about Caitlin Clark and the WNBA has not ended, and it will continue to define the league's future. However, one thing is certain, the WNBA is a league worth fighting for, and it can achieve unprecedented heights.
Outside these 12, but know that Caitlin is going to have a bright future with USA Basketball, and I think, the points that she made, she's even more motivated, more hungry, and just knowing that her time is going to come.
As fans, players, and the media continue to weigh in on this topic, the WNBA's future will be molded by the choices made today. It is a watershed event in the league's history, with long-term implications for the game. So where are we going from here? The solution is up to the league, the players, and the fans. It is up to all of us to keep the WNBA a league we can be proud of, one that is tough, competitive, and fair. And with leaders like Lynn Dunn at the forefront, there's little question the WNBA is in capable hands. Have you seen how Caitlin Clark has been generating news across all sports media platforms recently? If you haven't seen him, you're missing out on one of the most entertaining basketball players of all time. Caitlin Clark has taken the sports world by storm, becoming a household name for skill, confidence, and game-changing performances. What began as a rising star in the collegiate basketball scene has swiftly evolved into a legend who is transforming the way we think about women's basketball, and she has now managed to humble ESPN journalists in a manner that no one expected.
Power block by Boston. Here comes Caitlin.
For years, ESPN and other sports publications have been chastised for underrepresenting women's sports, notably their coverage of the WNBA. However, Caitlin Clark has not only changed the narrative around women's basketball, but she has also pushed the media to sit up and pay notes in a manner they have never done before. With her on-court domination, fearless demeanor, and large fan following, she has embarrassed big media outlets, pushing them to see the grandeur of women's basketball that they previously disregarded. In doing so, she has propelled the WNBA to a level of notoriety that will permanently change the landscape.
And that's the way to push the ball in transition. Oh, that's not gonna waste much time. Caitlin Clark has...
Prior to Caitlin Clark's rise to popularity, the media, especially ESPN, mostly overlooked women's basketball. Their coverage of the WNBA was often scant and limited to off-peak hours, while in-depth analysis and big promotional efforts were mostly kept for men's sports. This neglect was especially evident when it came to players like Clark, whose extraordinary performances and numbers would have made headlines if they had occurred in the men's game. ESPN has an opportunity to get ahead of the curve by seeing Clark's potential early on. Her collegiate accomplishments were nothing short of spectacular, with her ability to score from any position on the floor, her passing range, and her basketball IQ garnering her comparisons to NBA great. However, the conventional sports media was reluctant to respond, often focusing on other issues and downplaying Clark's pioneering achievements.
Game attendance and per game TV viewership. But despite the attendance and viewership records, there seems to be some haterade in the league.
As Clark's impact expanded, it became clear that she was not receiving the press she deserved. Fans of the game started to wonder why one of the most entertaining players in basketball, male or female, was not getting the respect she plainly deserved. As a consequence, ESPN found itself playing catch-up, attempting to reclaim trust with basketball fans who had already made Caitlin Clark a household name. Caitlin Clark's ascent to popularity started long before the media welcomed her. She dominated college basketball, guiding her team to stunning feats that often left spectators and experts stunned. Clark became a highlight machine thanks to her 40-point performances, ability to shoot from deep, and remarkable talent for finding teammates with beautiful passes.
What's different about winning this a second time?
I think it's a little different. I think the biggest thing for myself is this is my senior year. It's
her efforts in the NCAA women's basketball tournament were especially memorable, and it was during these high-stakes games that she fully established herself on a national scale. Clark led the Iowa Hawkeyes far into the tournament, putting up stat lines to match even the finest male athletes. Her aggressive approach to the game, pulling up for shots from far beyond the arc, facing multiple defenders, and producing clutch plays in crunch time, became the focus of the basketball world. Despite the media's slow response, fans were already deeply immersed in Clark's story. Social media became the forum for sharing, dissecting, and admiring her achievements. Videos of her performances went viral, with supporters praising her great skill while lamenting the lack of media attention she was getting.
NBA Player of the Week. Surprise, surprise. Indiana Fever rookie sensation, Caitlin Clark. It's nothing really.
It all came to a head when Caitlin Clark's name became too prominent to ignore. During her most recent season, Clark delivered a streak of memorable performances. She broke records, guided her team to spectacular triumphs, and secured her legacy as one of the sport's finest players. However, ESPN, which was reluctant to recognize her full significance, continued to understate her accomplishments in their reporting.
Notched the first triple-double ever by a WNBA rookie and the first in Fever franchise history.
This all changed when Clark's fans and the rest of the basketball community decided to take action. The disparity between her performances and the media's lackluster coverage reached a critical point. Fans flooded social media with footage of Clark's highlights, criticizing ESPN for neglecting to give her the recognition she deserved. It became evident that conventional media outlets were out of touch with the basketball community, and ESPN found itself on the losing end of the argument. ESPN's humiliation came when Clark produced a game so dominating that ignoring it became impossible. After another outstanding performance in a nationally broadcast game, ESPN had no option but to give Clark the recognition she had long deserved. However, it was too late. The basketball world was already beyond them, and ESPN's effort to catch up seemed forced and fake.
Can you believe that? It's hard to believe. Well, this is where we land. So Chicago Sky down in 7th place, Indiana Fever.
Caitlin Clark's influence went beyond insulting the media. It also altered the course of the WNBA. Historically, the WNBA has failed to attract the same amount of media attention and fan enthusiasm as its male counterpart, the NBA. This lack of attention created a vicious cycle in which the league was unable to increase its fan base, and the media defended the lack of coverage by citing poor ratings. Clark's ascension has given the WNBA fresh vigor, not only because of her skill, but also because of how she has engaged fans. The media, obliged to recognize her brilliance, began to pay greater attention to the WNBA, and as a result, fans began to pay closer attention to the league as well. Clark's popularity grew, and more people tuned in to see her play, whether as a final-year college student or a prospective WNBA star.
You know, it doesn't happen without them. It doesn't happen without the amazing coaches. And, you know, to kind of end my career in this note and hopefully winning a national title would be perfect.
ESPN and other sites, seeing their error in underestimating Clark's power, started to enhance their WNBA coverage, focusing on the league's stars in ways they hadn't before. This change in focus is creating opportunities for other outstanding players in the WNBA, giving them the recognition they deserve and helping to expand the league. Caitlin Clark's presence has altered not just the media's perception of women's basketball, but also how other WNBA players are seen. Clark's leadership has had a knock-on effect, with media outlets now covering other league players more extensively. Players like Aja Wilson, Brianna Stewart, and Sabrina Ionescu are profiting from the increasing attention as the media recognizes the WNBA's potential as a major sports organization.
45 blocks last year, Clark for three! Clark, they said she has redefined what a good shot is.
Clark's impact extends to the way the game is played. Her distinctive basketball style, fast-paced, long-range shooting, and high basketball IQ has inspired younger players who see her as a role model. Her confidence and talent on the court have redefined what it means to be a dominating player in women's basketball, and other players are beginning to mimic her approach. In doing so, she contributes to the evolution of the game and raises the standard of play across the league. Caitlin Clark's ascension occurs at a time when the WNBA is poised for expansion. The league's viewership has steadily increased in recent years, and Clark's effect is just speeding up that trend. As more people tune in to see her play, the league is gaining a new generation of fans who are optimistic about the future of women's basketball.
Honestly, I have no idea. I was just trying to get to the handshake line and shake hands and, you know, be grateful that my team was in that position.
This increase in popularity also results in financial growth. With increased media and fan interest, the WNBA's sponsorship and broadcast contracts are growing more valuable. Brands who were previously reluctant to invest in women's basketball are now recognizing opportunities for expansion, which is helping to raise the league's image. Caitlin Clark's impact will continue to be an important part of the WNBA narrative as it grows. Her ability to captivate fans and command media attention is changing the league's perception, and her sustained success this will further strengthen the WNBA's position in the mainstream sports world. Caitlin Clark hasn't simply embarrassed ESPN, she's revolutionized the game. Her ascent to prominence has caused the media to reconsider how it covers women's sports, and as a result, the WNBA has received unprecedented attention. Her impact not only helps the league expand, but also inspires the next generation of basketball players. Clark's impact will be recognized not just for her extraordinary skill, but also for shifting the debate around women's basketball. By demanding the credit she deserves, she has created opportunities for other players and helped propel the sport to new heights. Caitlin Clark's effect has contributed significantly to the WNBA's continued popularity. She has shown that women's basketball is just as interesting, competitive, and deserving of attention as any other sport, permanently altering the landscape of the WNBA. The league's future looks better than ever, and Caitlin Clark is leading the way. The WNBA has always been very competitive, with players putting their heart and soul into every game. But lately, the discussion surrounding the MVP award has reached a fever pitch. Aja Wilson, one of the WNBA's brightest talents, went off on what she sees as a tremendous injustice in the MVP race: Caitlin Clark's rejection of the prize title. What followed was nothing short of explosive, as Aja Wilson launched a rage, sending shockwaves across the WNBA and its fandom.
Kelsey Plum playing Caitlin Clark, no catch, meaning she's not trying to let her get it back.
In this video, we'll explore the events that occurred, including why Aja Wilson lost her cool and the drama surrounding Caitlin Clark's rejection. So brace up as we discuss what may be one of the most dramatic moments in WNBA history. To understand why Aja Wilson's response was so strong, we must first accept her role in the WNBA. Since being selected as the first overall choice by the Las Vegas Aces in 2018, Aja has been nothing short of exceptional. Her aggressive playing style, ability to dominate in the paint, and leadership characteristics have earned her a household name. Wilson, a two-time MVP and Olympic gold medalist, has constantly been in contention for the league's top honors. Wilson's intense competition and constant desire for achievement distinguish her as a great athlete. However, they also led to her angry response to Caitlin Clark's elimination from the MVP contest. Wilson's aggravation spilled out in a spectacular fashion as he understood the pressure and grandeur of winning the MVP award.
Indiana Fever rookie sensation, Caitlin Clark. It's nothing really to say other than that. She's winning Rookie of the Year. She's a top candidate for league MVP honors. She ain't beating Aja Wilson for the MVP.
Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, has been surging to the forefront of the WNBA discourse. Clark was drafted by the Indiana Fever and joined the league with lofty hopes, and she has not disappointed. Caitlin Clark, known for her exceptional shooting range, court awareness, and ability to score from nearly anywhere, has made a significant impact in her first season. Many fans and commentators anticipated her not only to win Rookie of the Year, but also to be a strong contender for MVP.
A little step-up action right here.
Boston gets it back to Clark, sidesteps Howard, she will launch and knock down a three.
Clark's ability to perform well under pressure distinguishes her from other athletes. Whether it's hitting three-pointers from beyond the arc or providing clutch assists, she's constantly shown she can carry her team through the most difficult games. Despite this, Caitlin Clark's outstanding accomplishments did not transfer into MVP accolades this season, which has prompted great criticism, particularly among players such as Aja Wilson.
The WNBA, she's just the fourth player to shoot at least 70% from three-point range on at least 20 three-point attempts.
The WNBA MVP award is one of the most coveted in the league. The award is given to the player regarded most important to their team's success, which is frequently determined by a mix of individual numbers, team performance, and on-court leadership. This year, however, the battle for MVP got acrimonious, with players, fans, and pundits all disputing who should win the title.
Caitlin Clark. It's nothing really to say other than that. She's winning Rookie of the Year. She's a top candidate for league MVP honors. She ain't beating Aja Wilson for the MVP, but she's beating Angel Reese for the Rookie of the Year. That's a wrap. That's over. And props to Angel Reese, who's had a good year, by the way. Quick hitter number 3 goes to Chicago Sky rookie forward Angel Reese.
Aja Wilson was once again in contention for MVP following another outstanding season. However, many believe that Caitlin Clark, despite being a rookie, had played at an MVP caliber level, making her a viable contender for the title.
And that's what the worst of cynics and critics do. And so you knew they were going to come for you. You had to know that. Now, to the degree that they're doing so, I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from. But keep your spirits up, because you're at a decisive advantage, Angel Reese. You're at a decisive advantage because they made the mistake of letting you know who they are, whoever those people are. And now you have perfect justification for keeping people at bay and not letting people too close where they could potentially hurt you. It's something most people usually learn when they get older. You learned it younger, which is a beautiful, beautiful